Hey, welcome to Let's Talk Nation. I'm your man, Rod Love, and sitting next to me is none other than the General Attorney, Greg Jackson.
Once again, it's on, Brother Love. Hey, you know how we get this thing started every week, man. How was your weekend this past week?
Weekend was great, man. A lot of great college football. I was thinking about your dad, actually, in particular, to one game that took place. And I was thinking, what would Greg Jackson Sr. say about the performance that took place during the University of Colorado game? And I have to go ahead and say this. While the University of Colorado came back and won that game, I'm a Sanders family fan because I love how they inspire. But I will tell you, Shedeur Sanders, he did not win that football game. And it's all right that he didn't win it, but I guess what agitated me the most, Brother Jackson, was this boy holds the ball too long.
I ain't watched the game, so
You
so I'm about to take your word for it. I ain't watched the game.
didn't watch any of the games?
No. So and let me tell you why. So let me give you some insight. So I did see a little bit of the Florida, University of Florida and Ole Miss game.
Okay.
But this weekend, I went over to Jacksonville to see my parents.
Okay. How were they doing?
They were doing good because on Thursday, they celebrated their 54th wedding anniversary.
Oh, congratulations.
So I was over in Jacksonville hanging out with the folks, and my wife, she went over and spent some time with her dad over in Savannah. So we were on the road this weekend.
Okay. So y'all, 54 years?
54 years. Man.
Oh, hey, to the Jacksons, congratulations, not just from me, from Let's Talk Nation Family Network, 54 years.
Yeah,
Wow.
man. So yeah, I mean, you know, they still kicking it around.
Man, that is, I tell you, that is heartfelt.
Yeah,
Man.
absolutely. So, but listen, Brother Love, for those who are tuned in to two of the most influential voices in Central Florida on Monday Night Podcast, Brother Love and Greg Jackson, the dynamic duo, guaranteed to raise your IQ 10 to 15 points. And on some nights, Brother Love, we give them 25 points.
We'll go up.
Yeah, man. So if you want to be a part of the night show, all you got to do is hit 321-483-7002 to talk to two of the most influential voices in Central Florida on Monday night. This podcast is Let's Talk Nation. And Brother Love, you know what we got to do? We got to let's get it on.
All right. Hey, well, since we're going to get it on, Greg, we have an election process that's coming up, man, and there's a whole lot of great things going on beyond what I think I've seen in the past in terms of a higher concentration of not just let's get out the vote, a higher concentration of, Greg, what I would call voter education, voter information, and voter outreach.
No, absolutely. And so, you know, part of what we do here at Let's Talk Nation, in addition to bringing candidates on the show to talk about their platforms and educating Let's Talk Nation on the individuals that are looking to lead their community, is that we also provide voter education outside of these four illustrious walls of Let's Talk Nation studios. And so, matter of fact, on this coming Sunday, I will be at St. Paul AME in Apopka, and there's going to be a voter education forum. I'm going to be hosting that along with Brother Bobby Scott as a part of the St. Paul AME Church Social Action Committee. We're going to have a panel of individuals to come out and talk about voter issues, voter education issues. We're going to also have some discussion, Brother Love. I know that some folks also lean on us to talk about the amendments. But on this Sunday, we're going to have a conversation about the amendments, the 6 amendments that are going to be taken up for discussion or for votes, not just discussion, but for votes here in the state of Florida, concentrating on probably 2 of the most significant that we've seen, the recreational marijuana amendment and also the right to abortion amendment. And then also, Brother Love, you and I, we're going to be tag teaming. And as a matter of fact, we're going to be at St. Mark AME on October 8th, 2024. And guess who's doing this, Brother Love?
AKAs.
It is going to be the AKAs, the Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, and it is going to be hosted by the Psi Theta Omega chapter in collaboration with, when those sisters come together, man, they work together. The Delta Omicron Omega chapter, the Nu Iota Omega chapter, the Alpha Beta Sigma Omega chapter, the Upsilon Psi chapter of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, and they're going to be having a voter education forum. And Brother Love, apparently they felt safe enough. They felt safe enough. I don't know if they know what they're asking for, but they're going to have not just one of the dynamic duo,
They're gonna have both of
they're
them.
gonna have the dynamic duo on this panel, but they're gonna probably have to separate. So you're not gonna put you on one end and put me on the other.
But you know what I love about that, though, Greg? What I love about that is, man, look at that collaboration.
No, absolutely, absolutely. And I mean, this is something that's going to be held once again at St. Mark AME over off of Bruton in Orlando, and it's going to be on October 8th. The doors open at 6:30 p.m. Let me just circle back. The Voter Education Forum in Apopka this weekend is going to be at St. Paul AME.
Come on, man, we got to give a shout out to over in St. Paul, senior pastor over.
Senior pastor is Pastor Gerard Moss.
And the senior pastor at St. Mark.
And the senior pastor at St. Mark is none other than our good friend, Terrence Gray. Now, not to say that Pastor Moss ain't my good friend, but, I have to call him Pastor Moss. But yeah, our good friend, Pastor Gray, is over at St. Mark, senior pastor at St. Mark. So,
and I do believe Pastor Gray is going to be celebrating 50 years in the ministry.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. So, some great things are happening, man. Some great celebrations.
All right.
He's celebrating 50 years in the ministry. And your parents just celebrated 54 years,
54 years
of matrimony.
Of marital bliss.
Marital bliss.
That's what we're going to call it. We're going to call it marital bliss.
Hey, so great, man. Got some great things going on, man. Shout out and my hats off to St. Paul. Hats off to, man, the sorority, AKAs, what they're doing. But again, man, I love the fact that there's a concentrated effort of training, outreach, and education.
Now, yeah, no doubt. But then also, Brother Love, it would be remiss if we did not talk about the past event just this past Friday, Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. Did you actually go out?
I didn't go out. Matter of fact, Greg Francis is the one who sent me.
Okay, he sent you the whole sponsorship.
The whole sponsorship.
So yeah, so Let's Talk Nation. We had a hole. We sponsored a hole for the Alpha event. It was a golf tournament. We had a brother come on. Brother Davis came on and talked to us about that event just last week. And from what I understand, Brother Love, it went Alpha. It was a great event. Unfortunately, I was coming off of a trial and had mediation and things like that I had to attend to just get back to the office. But nonetheless, Alpha Phi Alpha, Alpha Kappa Alpha. They are continuing to lead in voter education as well as educate to our youth. But you can't forget Omega Psi Phi, Kappa Alpha Psi, Phi Beta Sigma, Sigma Phi Beta, Delta Sigma Theta, Gamma Sigma Rho. The Divine Nine that are always out there doing work in the community and keeping folks engaged and involved.
I love it. Hey, Greg. So, man, here's something else, man. Want to go ahead and shift gears. The first presidential debate, man, that took place with Vice President Harris and former President Trump.
So wait. Before we get there, brother, you missed the first thing that we got on the list to talk about now.
What was that? What's that?
What's that?
Oh! I missed it, or you missed it?
No, you missed it.
About the trial.
I saw it.
About the trial.
I saw it. Listen, so brother, I always come on here and I talk about the great work that I do and my triumphs and all these other things. But I feel that it's fair to Let's Talk Nation when I come on and I talk about when I don't succeed.
But you know what's the irony of this?
What's that?
And I don't know if Huggy Bear still tuned in, but I love for Huggy Bear to
I don't know why he did that to you, Doc.
No, but I like it. But the reason.
Oh, he gonna learn.
The reason why I said
He gonna learn.
Is because me and Doc, we were just having a conversation. Doc, if you would, man, I know that Jack is right on the back of your door, but
Oh, man.
Doc and I were just having a conversation earlier about people who see when you get the wins, right?
Yeah.
But they don't see what you're about to talk about.
Yeah.
And so we were really in depth into that, Greg. And so perfect segue. I know 2 different shows, but perfect segue for where you're about to go.
Now listen. So one of the things I always tell people is that when I have clients, and I've been practicing law for over 20 years. I've been trying cases for over 20 years. And one of the things I like to tell people is that when I tell you something, I want you to understand that I'm coming from a place of experience. And so I had a case. We had a 2-week trial, very tough case. And I always have to warn my clients that when I'm doing my thing, drink my Kool-Aid. I lay it on. Listen, I lay it on thick, and I have to warn them. Listen, everything sounds, but don't drink my Kool-Aid because juries are unpredictable. The case was going so well. Let's see how well the case was going. The first weekend, the Wednesday and Thursday going to the trial, they wanted to offer my client. My client became a millionaire last week. They wanted to offer him some money while my client could have been a millionaire. My client decided that he wanted to roll the dice and take a chance with the jury. This was against the sage advice of myself and another attorney that I tried the case with, who was a board certified attorney. He's been trying cases for 20 years. I've been trying cases for over 20 years. And we know that juries are unpredictable. And so he decided, and when the jury came back with the verdict, where at the end of it, he said, I wish I would have listened and taken that opportunity.
Just you telling that story just took off.
Yeah, but the thing of it is that, a lot of times people, they get into these cases, and they feel like, there's no way nobody can go against me. They have to beat me and all of this. Jurors are unpredictable at the end of the day. And this experience, I mean, listen, I've been trying cases for 20 years, and I can count on one hand how many cases I have not been successful. On one hand. But that lets you know that this was a tough loss for me, but it was one that I understood. But it also, just so Let's Talk Nation knows, just so Dr. Light and yourself know, it also prompted me to write a book or to write a manual. And the manual that I wrote is called When the Dollars Don't Make Sense, How Plaintiffs Can Hurt Their Case. And it talks about, the negotiations and things like that, and why you don't want to put things in the hand of the jury unless you absolutely have to. So, I mean, listen, I just finished it up over the weekend. I've done like my final edits, things like that, and it's going to be on Kindle hopefully within the next week.
Okay.
But I just want to let me, but I did it because a lot of times people ask me the question, hey, what can I expect in trial? Now I can just say, here's the book, or go get the book, because this is real life experience of 20 some odd years of trying cases.
So Greg, I realize and understand the client went against the advice, but the other side of this, and Doc, I want you to chime in because of the conversation we were having earlier. And Greg, I don't want to simplify by one of those old adages about you win some, you lose some. But Doc,
It's a true statement, though.
Yeah.
It's an absolute true statement.
but Doc, the irony of the conversation we were having earlier on the earlier show.
Knowing that dude sitting next to you, I know he gives very sound advice. Okay. He's told me some things don't do. He said, no, this is it. Don't do this or
Come
do
into the
this.
mic a little bit.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
You got me now? Okay. Yeah. So, and again, this is one of the prevailing things about people. They don't seem to understand when to acquiesce to sound judgment. Now, here you got an attorney that has been trying cases for 20 something years, and he gives you this advice. Now, what in the world would make you take another road? This is not your wheelhouse. You don't know law. You don't know juries. You don't know human behavior. There's nothing
It goes
more
back to taking advice, and yeah, people gonna roll the dice, but this boy could have been a millionaire.
Listen,
Yeah.
it's easy. I mean,
And that's and earlier, Greg, on the other show, we were talking about those choices, making those choices a lot of times, and having mentors and people who've been there, and then taking that advice.
Yeah.
And I was explaining when I was a boy, I enjoyed talking to older people and avoiding a lot of the mistakes that they had because I didn't have I wasn't armed with the experience, but I was armed with the information of what took place with them having experience. So why would I not use that?
Hey, that's akin, and Greg, that's akin to having the winning lottery ticket
Yeah.
and saying, I'm gonna go cash it in next week,
yeah.
and you lose it on a house burn.
No, having a winning lottery ticket and say I'm gonna trade it in on the scratch off.
Oh yeah,
Trade it on the scratch off. But
So it the person completely lost?
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And I'm gonna tell you, I mean, and I don't say this lightly because, like I said, I've been trying cases for a lot of years. This was probably the best trial that I've done, man. By not laughing at me, right?
No, I'm laughing about the situation because listen, y'all. I told y'all, Doc is Doc, but Doc hood as hell. Okay, and I could hear them dudes under the tree around or around the car. I don't know whether they black or white, but I know a certain level of people and how they don't. My lawyer want me to do this,
Yeah.
and they listen to Leroy and Jethro,
Yep.
and they don't have no experience.
Nope. They sure don't.
No one.
They don't.
Why would you do that?
Yeah, but let me ask you this. Let me ask you this, Craig, and I'm real curious about this.
Yeah.
You wrote a manual on this. Did you just, I mean, as a result of this trial, is that what put you to do this manual? Was this in the work?
No. This was the precipitating factor because, you know, as I continue to sit back, like I said, I have not lost a lot of cases. I have at trial. I haven't lost a lot of trials. I just have. And so the question always comes up, and I always find that it's just certain people with the cases that I have not been successful in. They're the very ones that I gave them, and they didn't.
Can you help me with this?
Yeah.
You also mentioned that you went to trial with a board certified, or trials, was it trial certified?
Yeah, board certified.
Okay, let folk know what the difference is with a board certified.
Nothing. Just say, listen, they take it to the side. No, listen, I'm saying, you know how many board certified attorneys I took to the woodshed? Listen, man, I take to the woodshed all the time.
So y'all had
Listen, when I tell people, I had to tell this one attorney, he's a board certified lawyer. I said, listen, let me tell you something. I say, when I slow down enough to take that exam, I'm gonna be board certified too. All right, listen, I'm not board certified because of this. I've tried enough cases. I've done enough things. I have the respect in the community. I have everything that I need to become board certified tomorrow if I want to sit down and prepare to take that exam. So it's a process. But nonetheless, I mean, but not the board certified attorney. Let me say, board certified attorney told me, he said, I've been waiting to try a case with you for some years now. He said he's never seen the jury respond to an attorney like they responded to him. He was well enough with teachers. My client was crying. I caught certain jurors crying. The other side was speechless. I mean, listen, when I tell you, when I'm putting it down, and I'm not saying this. I only tell the truth when I'm talking about what I do.
Hey, Doc and I have seen it.
So listen, this was, I mean, from the arguments of the law, like my trial partner, you know, probably, I mean, this guy handled the evidence and the information and things where I just sat back and let him do his thing, and he let me sit back and do my thing. I mean, this was, I mean, in conjunction with who I was trying to case, this is probably the best trial that I have ever put together.
Right, so who would the manual be more beneficial to? An attorney or client?
Yeah.
Good.
Now,
good.
but listen, I mean, like young lawyers can probably pick this up and get some ideas also. Or people who try cases can probably steer their clients, or even young associates, or people, or even, you know, paralegals. Listen, this is why we talk about trying to get cases resolved instead of letting the jury make this decision.
Okay, so you're helping me down this path. So this manual will be on Kindle.
Yeah.
So great, let me ask you this question. For clients or for individuals that have some, you know, something takes place where they need a personal injury attorney.
Yeah.
Is this the handbook to, how do you, I'm not going to use the word manage, how do you look at and assess your case as it's being handled and managed by an attorney? Is it giving advice to clients as to what to look for when working with their attorney?
Well, not just that. So what I'm doing is, I'm just saying, listen, if you have a trial lawyer, there's a difference. So there's different types of lawyers. All right. When I say trial lawyers, the trial lawyers out there know what I'm talking about. The litigation lawyers know what I'm talking about. When I say a trial lawyer, when you have a trial lawyer that is sitting there giving you advice, I'm saying if you have a trial lawyer that's talking to you about this stuff, listen to that trial lawyer, because this is someone who's been in the trenches. And, you know, I've been in the trenches, but not just in the trenches as a plaintiff's attorney. I was in the trenches as a defense attorney for almost 15 years, where I was going against the same people that I represent now. So I tell them, listen, I know how to get around certain things because I used to be the person putting people in the mix.
Gotcha.
So if someone is sitting down telling you this stuff and they've been in the trenches and they see juries and they evaluate juries and they go through verdict analysis like I do on a daily basis, when I sit down and tell you, listen, I see the jury, they're responding, they understand what I'm saying, but you still need to consider, moving away from, letting the jury handle this, because at the end of the day, they go back there and 6 people who have to all agree. And how many times this is three of us, and Brother Armando on the other side, how many times do we agree on every single thing? And we know each other. We know each other. So imagine six.
So why do you think the verdict went the way it did?
A couple different reasons. I have to talk to you offline on that, but a couple different
Hey,
reasons.
Oh, okay.
Question, Doc. As you hear about the manual, you got any ideas about the development of that 60-second promo for Brother Jackson?
Oh yeah, I got it.
Because I'm listening to this because some of those books out there, whoever thought about naming some of these how-tos, the how-tos for not calling them, but the how-tos.
How not to be stupid in court.
But I ain't gonna but as you're talking, Greg, there's a great need out there. I mean, have you kind of looked at the market to see if there's?
I've never seen anything like it.
See, that's my whole point.
I've never seen anything
Doc, when we gonna get started on the promo?
I have something by the morning. You know me, so it's got to resonate. I come up with something that'll resonate with folks. But
listen,
a lot of this is just what I said earlier about who is talking to a person.
Yeah.
And we give value and weight to people often in circumstances who have don't have the knowledge and have never experienced what we're talking about.
Yeah.
And that's one of the biggest human problems. We listen to the wrong people.
Yeah. But listen, let me say this too though, man. Let me thank you, brothers, because the 2 weeks that I was out, you all kept me lifted up. When I brother, hey man, tomorrow's a big day for me. Hey, take care of your business, man. When I hit y'all up, but yeah, I wasn't successful. Y'all the first ones to say, hey, keep your head up. You know what I'm saying? And I appreciate y'all for always being that support and things like that. That's what this that's what friendship is about, and that's important. I appreciate y'all.
Well, hey, man, we're gonna all get up. And by the way, if there's ever a partnership not on this manual, because I can see something happening at the ground level. I want to get in at the ground level.
Yeah. Heck yeah.
Hey, well, tell you what, let's do this real quick. Doc, can we take that 60-second commercial, and then we're gonna come back and we're gonna lay something on y'all.
All right, we're gonna show the struggle.
All right.
Every day, black men face a silent battle, a struggle to prove they can rise above society's expectations. The weight of stereotypes, the pressure to succeed while carrying the hopes of generations before us. The weight feeling much heavier. But deep inside, we know our worth. We fight not just for survival, but to fulfill our true potential. Because greatness isn't given, it's earned.
You could see things in me. I saw things in you. And I feel like you let them slip away.
Black men, real growth begins when we open up. Talking about life's challenges strengthens our manhood and fatherhood. There's no shame in speaking up, it's how we grow together.
Hey, welcome back to Let's Talk Nation. And just a little segue for those of you who just watched that promotion, October the 11th at the Orlando Museum of Art, the Florida Economic Consortium will be hosting the Black Man documentary with its producer that will be in town, John Covington. And I'd be remiss if I didn't say this. Brother sitting to my left that is very talented in the law, very talented as a photographer, but also very talented as an author and a moderator. And it brings me great pride to let everybody know brother attorney Greg Jackson will be moderating this event. You will have a reception from 5 o'clock to about 5:40. We'll be seated in the theater around 5:40. From that time, we'll do some welcomes. 6 o'clock, the movie will play. It's an hour and 10 minutes. Immediately after that, Brother Jackson will also be moderating the Q&A, and we will have 3 of the individuals that were actually in the documentary that are flying to Orlando because of the demand.
Nice.
And Dr. Nelson will be sitting on that panel as well. So
Nice.
Hey, you should have. Hey, why you didn't get me to moderate?
Because you're wearing that hat? Because you might bring that hat?
Hey, I didn't say it.
Y'all see how you do me?
And we love you though, brother.
I like the hat, though.
No, but I'm talking about the moder. I know why I didn't get invited to moderate.
Tell us, because we're curious.
Show out. Look at him. Look at him. He look like he wants
he
Hey,
just wanna
Greg, cause Rod think I'm a uncontrollable wheel.
Nah, I used to think like that, but I know you better now. So
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna go there. I want to throw.
No, I'm just teasing. I'm not interested in it. I'm good retired, man. I don't. You know.
He likes stirring the pot.
Yeah, he like to do that.
He likes stirring the pot.
man.
Hey, but Greg, tell me, man, about the takeaways from the first presidential debate.
Well, it's the second debate. It's
Okay.
the first between Harris and Trump. Because remember, the first debate, that's where Joe Biden was exposed.
Okay.
And
I
so
got
that led to him being ousted as the Democratic nominee after we Democrats were told that he was perfectly fine. But that's
Did that turn out to be a blessing for the Democrats though? Because
We don't know
normally,
yet.
but
don't know
normally presidential elections don't take place that early.
the debates, right?
The debate,
Right,
yeah.
right, yeah. I mean, so did the exposing of Joe Biden end up being a blessing in disguise? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Did the choice to go that route end up being a blessing in disguise? We won't know until November.
You're right. You're right.
But listen, the key takeaways. Listen, in terms of decorum, in terms of just sheer performance, I think that Kamala Harris did a very good job. I will say that. She still didn't give a lot of detail as to what her plans are, policies, and things like that. But I think that she did a very good job of carrying herself well throughout the debate. Now, I think that Donald Trump again missed some opportunities, some very key opportunities, to where there's a certain segment of the community, and I will say a certain segment of the African American community that still isn't sold on Kamala Harris. If Trump kind of proves himself, they may go that route, but Trump has to show, that he's not, not the crazy person that they think he is. And this is where Trump missed some opportunities. When they were talking about, your rallies, and Kamala Harris said, well, people get up and they walk out of your rallies. Trump spent the next minute, instead of answering the question that was asked, talking about how many people come to his rallies.
But Greg,
A minute.
I'm glad you brought that up.
He missed a key opportunity to talk to the American people about his successes during the time that he served. Why are you so concerned about how many people come to your rallies and proving that you have a lot of people?
You're absolutely right. But I think one of the things that we need to probably focus on is the psychological warfare that's taking place. She did that intentionally because he went for it. But then here's the other part, Greg, that I think you got to move a certain segment of the electric to you, and that electric, they want to hear what's going to change their lives. I mean,
right. And who attends your rallies, they're going to do it.
Yeah.
And who stays are not going to do it.
And also, now all the memes on what is it? Is it dogs or cats?
That's the other thing. Listen, let's slow walk this one.
Yeah.
Let's slow walk this one, because another place where Trump just went off the rails, and I don't even know how this answer even came about. It came about because they were talking about the immigration issue. Stick to the question. The immigration issue, you talk about what was done at the border. You talk about the fact that Kamala Harris was named the border czar. That was she was really and truly the border czar. You don't hear it now as much because it was a failed effort to control what was taking place at the border. And instead of Trump harping on or discussing what's taking place at the border, the number of individuals who come into this country, the dangers that poses, he talks about Springfield, Ohio, a small town in Ohio. How big is Springfield? You used to live in there.
I was in Youngstown, but it's a small town. I don't know.
Yeah, it's so small you didn't even know it was there until you talked about it.
You're right.
Springfield, Ohio, nobody's ever heard of it until Trump mentioned it, to talk about the fact that the Haitians who live in Springfield, Ohio, are stealing people's cats and dogs, and they're eating people's pets.
Thus, you eliminate a population that you could have gravitate towards you, but instead,
But not only that, I'm not Haitian, and I was turned off by it. I'm turned off by it because number one, it sounds ridiculous.
correct.
Number two, where did that come from?
But all the serious things.
Where did it come from?
Yeah.
But the other thing, so I understand that there are legitimate issues what's taking place with individuals of Haitian descent in Springfield, Ohio. And I do understand that there are residents who are saying that their pets are being taken, and they're accusing the individuals who are of Haitian descent that live in Springfield, Ohio. And some of them saying may just be a bit of conjecture. But why is that a point of discussion in a presidential debate?
You're right.
Whether it's true or not, what it made no sense. So he missed some opportunities to really and truly talk to the American people about why he is the better choice. I think that Kamala Harris did a very good job of better introducing herself to the American public. But I still think that she fell short on talking to the American people about how she would really and truly change the lives of Americans. Because the thing that she talked about is, Trump this and Trump that. And the Project 2025, which Trump and his campaigners said they have nothing to do with. And I have no reason to not believe that. But she never really had the discussion, the conversation about the food prices, the gas prices. They talked about the Trump abortion ban. Trump has not been in office for 3 years. So why are you talking about something that he doesn't even have any control over?
You're right.
They talked about, the economy, how bad the economy is. Well, wait a minute. You all have been in office for the past almost 4 years.
So you own it.
Right. Yeah. So why are you saying this? She made another comment that, it's time to turn the page. Turn the page from what? The situation that the Biden administration has put us in, because that's the only page that we've been on for the past 3 years. So I think she's gotten confused about what has taken place under the Biden administration versus what has taken place when Trump was president almost 4 years ago.
So tell me, Greg, on that note, I see the Teamsters has said that they're not going to endorse either individual. Why do you think that is? And do they, historically, who do they endorse?
That's a great question. Because historically the unions, let's just say overall, the unions historically go with the Democratic candidate. Historically. The Teamsters have historically gone with the Democratic candidate.
So what's sticking out? So
this is the first time in modern history over the past 30 years that anyone can think of, or that I can remember, where the Teamsters have not endorsed any presidential candidate, much less the Democratic candidate for president. The issue is, Brother Love, is that the Teamsters have 1.3 million members. They polled their 1.3 million members. When they polled them in 2016, when Trump was running against Biden, Biden overwhelmingly had the support of the rank and file Teamster members. When they did that same poll of the rank and file members of the Teamsters, the 1.3 million, Trump was ahead with 56% of the vote to Kamala Harris's 34% of the vote. So they can't come out and say, hey, we support the Democratic nominee for president, because the majority of their 1.3 million members have said that they are rolling with Trump.
So let me dissect this just a little bit, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
You're familiar with this, Greg. There's an old kind of adage that says, if you're not gonna help me, don't hurt me.
Right.
Greg, can this even actually be looked upon as, if you're not going to endorse either side and you historically and traditionally endorse the Democratic side, who is this as a help to?
So Trump has come out and told them thank you. Trump came out and said thank you. I appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? So to him, it's like, listen, they said that they can't even endorse her.
Oh man,
They can't endorse me. I'm good with that. You know what I'm saying? What we normally say to people, hey, listen, when they come in, they come behind closed doors and say, hey, I can't support you, but I ain't gonna do nothing to hurt you.
Yeah.
That's what teachers do. Hey, I ain't gonna do nothing to hurt you. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna do nothing to hurt you. That's what happened.
Oh man, that's
Now, by comparison, the United Auto Workers, the auto union is largely a Michigan-based union for the most part of the Midwest. They actually came out and they endorsed Kamala Harris.
Okay. You talked about the population of the Teamsters.
Right.
You got any information on the population?
You know, I didn't really look, and
Okay.
the reason why I didn't look is because they
predominantly.
went with Kamala
Okay.
Harris. But the interesting part about the UAW membership is that now there is a segment, because I haven't heard Teamsters for Harris.
Mhm.
I haven't heard that yet. But I have heard auto workers for Trump.
Okay. Okay.
Because what they're saying is that the policies or the lack thereof of hearing of the policies of a Harris administration, they feel is going to hinder their ability to continue to work in the auto industry because they're talking about electric vehicles.
Yeah.
And so that really truly hurts the automobile industry in the United States. And I understand that more and more people are getting electric vehicles, but what people are starting to realize is that it takes more natural resources to run a electric vehicle plant than it does to run, or just as much as it does a regular car plant. And more people are saying, wait a minute, let's. I don't think the technology is fully ready for us to embrace becoming 90 or 95% electric vehicles.
But we're great. Isn't it the same to have a conversation about the cost of green energy?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it far exceeds in some cases what is it, fossil fuel costs.
Yeah.
So and who was the most famous notable former vice president that went into the green energy business?
The vice president?
Yeah.
You talking about Gore?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. I remember. Listen, he said he invented the
internet.
Yeah. Al Gore. So listen. So Brother Pinto has some questions. He said Congress by constitutional amendment is responsible for the border, which I mean, I wouldn't disagree with that. But we know that presidents have a large role in helping to secure the border. That's why when Trump came in and set a policy about reducing the number of individuals that come into the United States, that was a presidential policy that was in place, and it affected how many people actually came into the United States. So while Congress may be responsible for the budgeting and putting the money towards it, it's the president that sets the policies as to what takes place. Because remember, when Biden became president, there were caravans of people ready to come and who did come into the United States because the president said, you're welcome into this country. And so, yeah, I mean, to an extent that is true, but the president does set policies and the president does put people in place in order to address the issues at the border, and Kamala Harris was put in control of addressing what takes place at the border. And listen, we can't pretend like it didn't happen.
You're right.
I mean, if we go back and when she was asked a question about one news reporter, well, have you been to the southern border yet? She laughed and said, well, I haven't been to Europe yet. The question was, why haven't you been to the border? Because it's a debacle. Mm-hmm. She was in charge of the border. So let's not, because what happens is if we try to say that, well, hey, she didn't have anything to do with it, then now we're taking away, the power that she was actually given.
Greg, and that's a much larger conversation that I think we definitely need to have, because one of the things I think that is not talked about and discussed enough is the economic or the fiscal impact to taxpayers, to United States taxpayers. So that's something else, man. I'd love to come back at another show to dive into. But Greg, let me ask you this question, man. What is going on with it looks like, man, every time we turn around, we're looking at another assassination attempt.
Not sure. So hold on, wait, because there's another question that says that gas prices are controlled by OPEC, which is true on the international market. Remember when Trump was in office, he actually released gas from the reserves, which some people were critical of that because once the gas is gone from the reserves or you don't replenish the reserves, it's gone. But remember what gas prices were under president. And that's what I'm saying. Listen, we can do this all day, but let's talk about the facts. Let's talk about what it was like when Trump was president. I mean, you can't deny this. Mm-hmm. You can't deny this. Gas prices were at $1.89 a gallon. That was the Trump, and that's because he took away the restrictions on the oil and gas industry to produce gas in this country. And OPEC really had no control over our gas prices because we were able to produce our own oil. So yeah, when you're unable to produce your own oil or unable to produce and refine your own gasoline, then yeah, OPEC can control that. And that's why we're at almost $4 a gallon at one point in time. It was $6, almost $7 a gallon over in California because we were no longer able to produce and refine our own oil. But when we're able to do it, gas prices go like this.
So Greg, and on that note, because I was ready to go to assassination, but now you open.
Yeah.
So Greg, when we use our reserves, when we tap into our reserves, what is the process that takes place to replenish that We buy
Drill, baby, bitch.
Drill,
No,
baby,
look, no,
okay,
we don't have
okay.
to buy. Listen, we produce our own oil. I mean, right here off of the Gulf of Mexico, over in Texas, we have.
So we replenish based on our ability.
Yes,
I got
yeah.
you.
So we don't have to go out and buy. People don't understand how much oil the United States is able to produce and to make. And you know, Trump was the type of person that understood this, and I'm sure other presidents have also. But we were technically becoming oil and gas independent. When you're dependent on someone else to do something for you, that's when they have you over a barrel. Now, compare that to what took place in Germany, where there were no restrictions on Germany opening up its gas lines and sending their gas and their oil to Russia. Russia, is making billions of dollars on this stuff, and we're not making any money on it.
But America having its own ability to produce its own oil has major ramifications around the world because we're pulling the doggone cost of barrel down.
Right, that's right. And we can produce oil to send to other nations.
Mm-hmm.
So we can not only be a producer of our own oil products, but we can also be an exporter to other countries that can use our products and then not be as dependent on OPEC either. Because OPEC, listen, man, they can catch a wild hair, and the next thing you know, they've limited the production of oil, and now we're paying $7 a gallon.
You're right. You're absolutely right. So Greg, hit me with, man, the assassination attempts, man. What's going on, man?
Listen, man, it's crazy. It's crazy, and I think that with these attempts, that it more and more galvanizes a certain segment of the conservative and Republican, faction towards Trump, because this is never. Listen, there's never been a time in history when a presidential candidate has had multiple attempts on their life. And so for those individuals who support Trump, and even those who are just kind of looking casually about it, it's like, well, what is it about this guy to where somebody wants to kill him? So some people may say, well, he's a danger to this country, he talks and all this other stuff. But what is it really? And so the latest attempt was here in the state of Florida. And let me tell you how shady this sounds. And listen, I have to always say it. I don't know why I have to keep saying it. I'm going to stop saying it because I shouldn't have to say this. I'm not a Trump fan. So let's talk. Let's get it out of the way now. But I am a person who wants everyone treated the same way and treated fairly. So that's why when I talk about things, I look at it and I compare it against how other people are treated. And what I would say is this: the guy that tried to kill Trump, this golf outing that Trump was on that particular day was an off calendar or off radar thing that he just decided to do like the night before. So nobody knew about it except for the Secret Service and maybe some other folks. This guy, whoever tried to kill Trump, I forget his name now, but he's here in the Florida jail right now. He went 12 hours before Trump got there, set up on somewhere close to the 6th hole, got his weapon and everything else and set up to where he would have a direct shot of Trump as he came to the 6th hole of this golf course.
How did that?
That's the question. How does he get this information? How does he get that close to a former president that has a Secret Service detail? How does he sit there for 12 hours before Trump gets there and no one knows that he's there or how he got the information to be there? This is the disturbing type of stuff that the conspiracy theorists that are out there, this gives them more than enough fuel, no pun intended, because nobody's going to talk about gas, but this gives them more than enough fuel to say, wait a minute, this is some deep state stuff of what's taking place.
But Greg, one of our friends, and when we talk about the talking heads,
they say you use an AK-47, not effective at the range.
Pinto.
Yeah.
Hey, but you know what? Here's one of the things, man. One of our
but an assassination attempt nonetheless.
You're right.
I mean, I don't care if he had a slingshot.
He had some information.
Any attempt on any political figure in our country, I don't care who it is a blackout on this country.
Or it is. But then I think the other thing that it does, Greg, it's encouraging some of these wackos out there, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna just say, but one of our good friends, man, has been one of the expert talking heads, if you would, and that's former Orlando Police Chief
Orlando Rolland. Yeah.
And some of the things, man, that we've been hearing while we think that former presidents don't get the level of Secret Service protection as a sitting president. Here's something that was really good when you hear it articulated, and that may be true, but one of the things that came out of this is every president, even a former president, gets a detail that is impacting based on the threats that are made on that person. And so I know you kept up with this, Greg. Congress is going back to look at how to increase the budget for presidential protection right now.
Yeah.
And you know, and they're gonna have to do it on both sides. I mean,
Yeah.
now because of how they
Because listen, I'm gonna tell you this, and I'm gonna tell you what scares me. I mean, you know, because I don't care how much you like or dislike Trump. What scares me is what if someone starts trying to make these types of attempts on Kamala Harris?
and that's why you see that.
That's what concerns.
Yeah.
I mean, because there have been 2 attempts on Trump's life. There are just as many wackadoos on the Republican
You're
side
right.
as there are on
You're
the
right.
Democrat side. We cannot accept that in any form of fashion and that's why I always say when I look at this stuff, I look at it. What if the shoe was on the
Other foot. You're right.
And so I can't excuse it in any form of fashion because I don't want whether or not I agree or disagree with Kamala Harris. I respect her for her service that she's done. I respect her for putting herself out there to be the first African American or Indian American or whatever she identifies with. And I'm not saying that as a knock. I'm just saying I want her to whatever she's comfortable with in her skin. I want her to be that first. And she shouldn't have to worry about somebody trying to take her life only because she is in a political position
Correct.
or because she is running for a political position. She should not worry about her life being in danger because of that.
You're absolutely correct, Greg. And the next piece that I want to move to, man, kind of stays in the same range as it relates to trends that we don't want to see that are starting to take place. And these trends, man, as it relates to the what do you call it? The high school level of Greg, are we calling it fraudulent attempts or what are we calling this?
We don't know what they are. I mean, because if you look at what happened in Georgia, that wasn't fraudulent.
You're right.
If you look at what took place in Michigan, that wasn't fraudulent. When you look at what took place here in Central Florida when a kid took a gun to school, that wasn't fraudulent. So they have to take every single threat on the school seriously because you don't know if it's that one kid that this isn't a prank phone call. And, and just kind of shifting gears and thinking about safety, not just for our political figures, but now for our children in our schools. Here in Central Florida, Brother Love, and I think, Sheriff Chitwood has been on the show.
Yeah.
Sheriff Chitwood talked about the fact that right now, and school has only been in for less than 30 days here in the state of Florida. And in Volusia County, he said that they've already expended $21,000 on trying to address these phone calls and these school threats.
But here's something that I think Sheriff Chitwood is getting out there, Greg, and I think he's doing an excellent job of doing this. He is issuing a no tolerance policy to these young people, but he's also saying something to the parents too. That says you're going to be held accountable.
Now listen. Let's read what Sheriff Chitwood said. Sheriff Chitwood, in a recent interview, said, "Where is it? I just missed it. Hold on, wait.
200.
No, where is it? I just saw it.
This is absolutely out of control.
There you go. Yeah, parents, you don't want to raise your kids. I'm going to start raising.
Yeah.
Every time we make an arrest, your kid's photo is going to be put out there. And if I could do it, I'm going to perk walk your kids so that everybody can see where your kids are."
Hey, and he has been doing that. And you know what? He's a man of his word.
Listen.
And this one kid that just recently, the latest one, the only reason why there hasn't been a perk walk is because this young person has some disorder, if you would. But, getting to the point where Sheriff Chitwood is, think about the amount of resources that are being used for these anonymous calls in. Think about the fact that they have to respond to these.
Have to. And now the resources that they have to reallocate to go to these places. So now other areas of the community may become unsafe because of
vulnerable. But also think about the trauma that's taking place with not just the students in these schools, but also think about the trauma of personnel when you got to deal with this.
No, absolutely. But listen, though, parents in these schools, and hear Sheriff Chitwood closely, but also look at the example of what took place in Michigan. Yeah. That young man who went in and he shot those students in that school in Michigan, not only is he in prison, but his parents are now in prison. The law and what is taking place in society right now dictates that if something happens or your child commits an atrocity against other people, that you as a parent are going to be held responsible. We can no longer have this hands-off, nonchalant approach to dealing with our kids. If your kid's standing up yelling at you and cursing at you, that means that you have failed in some form of fashion. If your child walks out of the house and you ask them where they're going, they tell you none of your doggone business, or they walk out the house any time of night and you don't know where your child is, it's 9 o'clock, where your kids, that is a problem. And if that child goes out and does something to somebody else, guess who needs to be responsible? The adult that should have raised that child, but when they were 6 months old, a year old, when they started smacking off and you didn't get that tail in, that's who needs to be responsible.
But responsible also, Greg, to the extent that, I mean, just the example that you just gave. If your child is doing this,
Yeah.
don't wash your hands to it. You better do something. You better try to go ahead and get some help. Greg,
Yeah.
going to the point in case of Sheriff Chitwood. Greg, parents are being held accountable, and you just kind of, I heard what you said. Remember what we were doing on Let's Talk Nation a couple of years ago?
Yeah.
It's 9 o'clock.
You know your kids are.
Do you know where your kids are? And Greg, that means so much now than it did 2 years ago.
Yeah, because a lot of parents, Brother Love, unfortunately, if you ask that question, they're going to say no. And the other part of it, when they say no, they're not going to make any efforts to try to figure out where their child is.
Yeah.
I mean, this society that we're in right now is such that no one wants to be responsible for their own child. No one wants to be responsible for their own child. And that's why, I think, sometimes we get called and, people, oh, hey, something's going on with my child. Listen, I can't be a parent to everybody's child.
You're right. We can't gloss over what happened in our own backyard, man. Orange County Public Schools.
Yeah, over in Apopka,
Mhm.
right there in Apopka. I mean, this is serious, and that's why I say, in order for this to be taken seriously, I fully believe that parents are going to be held criminally liable and responsible for the bad acts of their children. And I also think that the monies that are expended, if Sheriff Chitwood is saying that $21,000 in recent days alone has gone into investigating bogus school threats posted on social media, that there should be an invoice sent to the parents.
That sounds like accountability to me.
That is accountability.
Yeah.
And if you're not going to take it upon yourself to raise your child, and the government has to raise your child, then you need to put some money towards the raising of your child if you're going to let the government do it. Period.
And I keep coming back to saying, because you got some parents that are out there doing everything that they can, and then they're saying, I can't, he won't listen to me. Greg, you better pick up the phone and see what else is out there. Not absolving you of your responsibility as a parent, but for those parents that sit back and say, well, I don't know where he's at. I can't control him. I can't do that. Well, and this still would not absolve you. But boy, you better have some things in place where you're calling to get some doggone.
But here's the problem, Brother Love. The fact that they don't know where their child is at age 13 means that there were some failings before that child became 13.
Yeah.
And so, this is not just a call to the parents that are having problems with their kids now. You probably already, too far gone. All right. So, we're gonna toast and drink a sip of Buffalo Trace to you all, whoever you may be. This is for the parents that are coming up now that has those children. You need to start understanding and getting the reign of your children now, because the times are going to change. The sign of the times is going to dictate that if your child goes out and they do something that harms another person, like even right now, civilly, you're responsible for something if your child destroys someone else's property. So the logic will tell you that if your child harms someone criminally, that you may in fact also have to share the brunt of the responsibility and find yourself in jail.
How do you help parents know that this is real? How do you help parents? Because Greg, the best way that people understand the consequences of not just their actions, but the consequences of your minor child's action is on you. So what's the best way to get that out there, Greg? Because marketing has been the only way that people get informed about things. Just like when Governor Bush used to be in office and you had your 10-20 life.
Yeah.
People got it.
Yeah, they did.
So do you think parental engagement, involvement, and guidance would increase if parents actually knew they're going to be held responsible?
And listen, we need to have some martyrs. I think that those parents whose children are doing these things, and listen, and let me take a step back, because some of these are hardworking parents, and kids are going to do mischievous things. So let me. I don't want to be too hard. All right, I don't want to be too hard, and I don't want to be unreasonable, because some of this is like just kids just joking around, and they don't understand the depths of what they're doing. And I get it. You know what I'm saying? I was a kid before. I did stupid stuff as a kid. What I'm talking about are those kids that are actually going out and harming other people. I'm talking about, that if you know that your child has something going on and you put a gun in their hand and you expose them to guns, and that your child is going out in the middle of the night and they're hanging out with the wrong crowd. And a lot of times, because these parents know that their kids are smoking weed, drinking, and things like that, and they don't do anything about it. Those are the people that I'm talking about. I'm not talking about.
But great, these pranks are
they cost. Yeah, they cost, and that's why I say for those types of things, maybe send the parents a bill. Hey, listen, this is what it costs the taxpayers. Here's an invoice for what it costs. This is your responsibility. That's
Yeah.
real. But these other ones, like this kid that up in Georgia, the one up over in Michigan, the kids here in Florida that that brought guns into the schools and things like that. Their parents, in my estimation, if they had a hand or role in providing their children with these weapons, should most certainly be held criminally responsible and find themselves in someone's jail if they have caused a loss of life or some bodily harm to another individual.
Brother Jackson, I'm with you on that. I got to do a little rapid fire on you. For those of you, I mean, we're having this conversation about these school pranks that are being called in, Polk County included.
Watch your kids.
Yeah, in the first 28 days of
Watch your
school,
kids.
there's been 24 students arrested for written threats to kill. Last school year, there were,
Listen, and you say that. How many days have they been in school?
true, they started in what, late August?
28 days.
28 days.
And it's how many been arrested already?
24. 24.
In 28 days, that's almost a student a day. Come on now.
Hey, Greg, I hate to shift
Come
gears
on,
like
man.
this, but somebody keeps saying, when are we going to bring up, and this is, we're only going to have a few minutes to do this.
What's that?
And I hate that we only have a few minutes. One of the big late breaking stories that took place, last week? Sean P. Diddy Combs.
Yo, my man.
Great. This is the equivalent of Harvey Weinstein. isn't it?
This is the exact equivalent of Harvey Weinstein. For those who've been under a rock for the past couple of days, last week, actually it happened much earlier than last week. There was about 6 or 7 months ago. We were horrified, brother. When we watched it on television, Sean Puff Daddy Combs ran out of a hotel room with a towel wrapped around him. His girlfriend at that time was trying to flee. He grabbed her, he threw her to the ground, he kicked her and everything else. So come to find out, she sued him civilly. And that opened up a hornet's nest.
You said that was one of the quickest settlements you'd ever
I think
seen.
it happened in a day, maybe less than 24 hours. He settled within less than 24 hours. But that opened up a hornet's nest because then you had other individuals that came out and said, hey, this Sean Combs guy is not a good guy. They went in, they raided his home. The FBI went in and raided his home, took boxes of videos and other things from his home. That happened about 4 or 5 months ago, maybe less than that. And last week, he was arrested on sexual assault, prostitution, and a myriad of other charges that mirror what Harvey Weinstein did, and it was closely aligned and associated with what he called freak-offs, parties that he would have where he would bring other celebrities in, videotape it.
Greg, a lot of people shaking right now.
Yeah, listen, they said that it was so bad. They say that he would have these girls come in, and they would actually have bags of IV just in case they couldn't be revived fast enough so they'd get back in. This is ridiculous. This has shook the entertainment world, and I think that Method Man said it best. This is not an indication of what hip hop is. Sean Combs, although he is a pioneer, he did help to shape and develop hip hop with the groups he came out with, most notably, B.I.G., Lil' Kim, all of those guys, Mace. I mean, the list goes on. But he is not hip hop, and this is not a reflection of hip hop culture. He was a bad guy in hip hop. And so right now, Brother Love, he is sitting in jail. He has been denied bond multiple times now because they're saying, number one, he's a flight risk. He's also known to intimidate witnesses. And I think that, listen, when they come in and they do what they've done to him, like they did with Harvey Weinstein, it's going to be a long day.
Great.
It's going to be a long day.
What you keep hearing is a lot of celebrities are nervous. They're trying to figure out were they at some of these parties, and if they were at some of these parties, did they witness anything that's going to be?
Listen, some notable names. Usher. And Usher went to Diddy camp, I think is what they called it, and he was like, he would never let his child go to Diddy camp. We don't know what happened.
Great. One of the most notable names is one of the names in the ministry.
TD.
Yes.
But his name has been floating around for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's another name. Justin Bieber is another name that's come up too. The Kardashians, their names keep coming up. Jay-Z's name keeps coming up.
Dwayne Wade.
Dwayne, listen, there are a lot of, like you said, a lot of celebrities, but the interesting thing too, and this is not me saying it, I heard it and I did find it interesting also, is that you haven't heard a lot of celebrities' names mentioned in this. And what they're saying is that they think that there are going to be a lot of people cooperating with the government against Sean Combs, and that's why you don't hear their names, because they're in the process of striking deals with the government to go against this guy. And if this happens, man, there is no getting out of jail for Sean P. Diddy Combs on this one.
Well, man, I
Hey,
think.
listen, Jennifer Lopez.
Yeah.
He traumatized her. Listen, Jenny got off the block because
Jenny, yeah.
she used to be Jenny from the block. When she was a public, she got off the block. She was like, I ain't got time for this.
Hey, Greg, man, come on. We got to tell people, man, next week because we got to get to the amendments, man. So
But that's next week. Man.
so next week we'll kind of go over amendments a little bit.
Listen, man, we don't want to give it to them too soon because they'll forget.
Okay, so we'll be back on air before the 8th. We'll be back on air because got to repeat again.
Right.
What's going on at St. Paul?
Yeah, St. Paul AME on the 29th. That's this upcoming Sunday. It's going to be a voter education forum at St. Paul AME from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. The St. Paul AME Social Action Committee under Brother Bobby Scott. He is
Open to the public.
Open to the public. Yeah, come out and engage, and let's see if we can help you to become better informed and better engaged in the political process.
Hey, we have a lot of processes that are taking place, but again, hey, I've never seen times like this where there's so much voter outreach, education, and information taking place. We want to take advantage of it. Brother Jackson, man, I love you to death, but man, you don't have to go home.
You got to get out of here.
Until next week on Let's Talk Nation, hey, tune in. You'll learn a few things. Make that IQ go up too.